Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is July 30th, 2025, and this afternoon's Fed meeting has precipitated a big move in Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency markets. Is it new? Did it cause it? No. I use the verbiage precipitated very purposefully because this had already been in the works. So we're going to look at that, what happened, where we expect Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoins to go. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it with Bitcoin on the 4-hourly time frame. And our 15-day channel, I think it's 15 days. Let's check really quickly. Yeah, 16-day channel looks like it's breaking down, okay? And we said this yesterday. Today, we're not going to talk too much. We've given quite an extensive update in yesterday's episode. If you missed that, go watch it. But today, because we have this breakdown, I just wanted to give a quick update. So we said yesterday that we're very, very intent, very carefully monitoring this right here, the midline of our 15 to 16-day channel. And if we were to hold the midline here, show strength, reclaim the top of the channel, retest it, and go, that is a bullish breakout of this 16-day channel. If not, what we would see is a breakdown of the channel, a retest of the midline, and then, the ultimate failure of this price channel, okay? Meaning you get a breakdown of the channel, and that's how channels break down. They break down from the heart line, the midline. I explained that at length yesterday, so I'm not going to reiterate all of that today. So that's what we were looking for. That's what we got. And interestingly enough, this afternoon's FOMC meeting, almost exactly around when the announcements, I believe, the announcements of whatever decisions were taken in the meeting were made, this channel or this candle broke down through the midline of our 16-day channel, which is interesting. So, people always ask, well, are news events important? Are they worth trading on? Do you look at those things? And I don't, but I do. Here's what I don't do. I don't do my analysis around news events. I don't do my analysis around events because those aren't as important for me as all of this data that I can trade on, this data that I can more accurately predict, more accurately sort of I can tell where it's going. I can't really tell what news is going to be printed and what the market's reaction is going to be to that. But the news is important insofar as it creates a precipitating cause. So it's kind of like you prepare all the vegetables, you prepare all the spices, you have your pot, the water, all that stuff, but you still need to light the match under the pot. You need to heat the stove to cook your food. And news events to me are just the process by which you heat the stove to cook your food, but you still have to chop and prep everything, right? So chopping and prepping everything for me is the price action. And so I know if I'm chopping carrots and celery and I've got some meat, I'm probably making a stew of some sort, right? I can predict that. I can with a high degree of probability go out and say, it looks like a stew's about to be prepared, or some soup, or something that has meat and celery and carrots. Do you see what I mean? But then I don't know when or if people are going to react one way or another to a news event, or if I try to light the stove and it doesn't light the first time I go, or if I light the stove, it creates a big boom, or just it does. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but price action is king. Just look at the price action, and eventually it plays out. Timing the market is extremely difficult, and sometimes timing coincides with news events, but sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, you're on the right side of the trade if you're reading the price action properly, and it gives you a high degree of probability of being able to be either short or long in the right circumstances. So that's all I'll say about that. So yes, Bitcoin's breaking down, and the rest of the market's breaking down as we expected it to. This is the first move of the breakdown right here. The breakdown below the heart line or the midline, retest, and now the further breakdown to our eventual target, as we've been saying for a while now, to 100K. That is our target. This is when or where we expect this breakdown to find some temporary support. So that's Bitcoin, nothing new. So we're going to keep it at that. Now, altcoins. Altcoins are doing similar things. All right, let's fix this right here. And they're breaking down. And again, they, like Bitcoin, are on important support. This is a 500-day support. You came down here. If you were bullish, you would have created a lot of accumulation at this important level of support and then continued up. But what we're seeing is a gradual lack of strength in this trend. And yes, once you hit this level of support, you created an immediate wick. You created an immediate sort of show of strength, but it's not a major show of strength insofar as it's not going to break this. I think what you're going to get, just like what you're seeing in Bitcoin, is a reaction and then an eventual failure of this level, taking us down to our target. And let me say another thing. For those saying that, the news is important, here's why the news isn't important, right? But it is. It is because, the FOMC meeting and the breakdown of this price action literally happened at the same time, right? FOMC meeting comes, Bitcoin breaks down around the same time. That's not a coincidence, because you're dealing with liquidity. You're dealing with the US dollar currency index, and these news events move the US dollar, and that moves the US dollar currency index, which moves Bitcoin, which moves anything that's traded using the US dollar, stocks, cryptos, bonds, all that stuff. The other thing I'll say is this. You could say that, Powell, he's doing this to us. He's dumping our markets. Before Powell ever took the microphone to speak and pronounce anything, we'd been printing a bearish pattern. We'd been coming down and showing lack of strength, right? This is very important. You can see it in Bitcoin, but you can see it even more pronounced in altcoins, right? Like, make sense of it. Like, there's certain people who are absolutely convinced that, Powell is the reason for Bitcoin dumping. And, this is exactly how people manipulate markets. They're manipulating the market. Look, he said it and it went down. Look, it's been going down. Do you see that? From here, you've been showing a lack of strength. This is basically just an important level, yes, but it's not the beginning of the trend. It's not like everything was going perfect until he opened his mouth, and people will have you believe that. A lot of, again, influencers, analysts, people who have very large communities, maybe they believe it, maybe they don't, maybe they're just posting it, but you just have to be smart and make sense of this stuff. This is not that difficult. Just look at the data in front of you and think about it for a second. The news doesn't necessarily move the markets, although it may precipitate moves in the market. Very important distinction. All right, last but not least, this is not going to be a long video. You're getting that move in Bitcoin dominance, just like we said you're likely to get. So what you're seeing here is an impulse that's chopping up and will likely give a final strong move up to our target. So everything's going according to plan. We're expecting a move up in Bitcoin dominance to this level. We're expecting a move down in Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency markets to the levels we've discussed, right? In Bitcoin, it's 100K, and in altcoins, it's down to this level of approximately 810 billion, right, on the total three. So that's playing out, and once we get there, we can flip bullish once more. And I think that as many people that may be discouraged by these moves that we're witnessing right now, right, these retracements, the moves up are going to be that much more intense, that much more extended, that much more valuable, right? So even if you're in the red and this move is taking you further into the red, I wouldn't worry about it. You're not going for perfection in your entries. You're just looking to ride the wave once it hits. But before that, there's nothing really you can do. It's very hard to make money in a sideways, choppy market. There's where you make money, in these big alt season moves. So once you get there, you can start printing, start getting smart with where you take profit, and then you retrace, and you rinse and repeat. So guys, that's it for me. Hope this was helpful, useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. Consider tipping me: Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App, all at the pinned comment below. And consider my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, where we discuss levels, where to take profit on these pumps, where to sell, where to buy back to get back into the trend, all that stuff. You can find my one-on-one services, signups for my one-on-one services in the pinned comment below as well. So guys, take care. Hope this was good, and I'll see you later. Bye. My prevalent time slot, I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi, I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest. Magnanimous, we body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I